All right, everybody. Hey, this is James. I'm here with my co-host Vanessa again. How you doing, Vanessa?
Hi guys, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good, good. So, what do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? I think probably the market. I'm sure everybody's dying to know.
So, before we get into the market, we'll talk about everything. What's some articles. I'll pull some articles here in a few seconds, and we'll kind of go over that. And we're just basically, guys, what we're gonna talk about is just obviously, nationally. Then we'll go, more our state. Then we'll talk about the Fayetteville surrounding areas and what we're seeing and what we're not seeing, and giving you some tips for sellers and buyers of what's going on with that. I mean, I think for the most part, we were just talking about before we came on air, days on market. And from what I saw in our MLS, like I think 59 days. I said for Robson County, for Hope County, which is Rayford, 59 days. For Cumberland County, 42 days. And I was just saying, Harnett County's had 5 days, which is really strange. They got 5 days on every day's on market. I thought it was a typo or something. But then when I went to inventory for them too, it said it was new sales quickly. So only thing I think to contribute to that would probably be me because it's near Raleigh. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are not living in Raleigh anymore. Now they're wanting to live in Harnett County because it's so the home prices in Raleigh are typically double what ours is.
Hmm.
So Venice, you're the second best realtor in the world. So,
I did get a text this week saying that I was insulted.
yes, and I'm the second best too. I guess we're fighting over second best. I mean, first is overrated. I mean,
Yeah,
who cares about first? Anybody can have first. I mean,
right. It's about the underdog.
yeah, we got to fight for second. So, all right. So let me go ahead and pull up the first article here. Let's see. So this is today's mortgage rate. So just looking at it real quick, I'll read it off to you guys. Rates dip almost across the board. On August 3rd, mortgage rates today reveal a slightly drop, which is a good thing, slightly drop. The average 30-day fixed mortgage rate of 6.67, down 19 basis points from last week's 6.86, according to Zillow's latest data. Meanwhile, 15-year and fixed mortgage rates edged up slightly to 5.77, and a 5-year adjustable ARM rate nudged highly by 1 basis point to 7.18. So, unfortunately, key takeaways with all this, with interest rates, lowest in a week. So that's good for 30-year mortgage. And I think most people are doing 30-year mortgages. I don't know, even that's what have you seen out there?
Yeah, 30-year mortgages is
Yeah.
pretty standard.
Yeah. I haven't seen anybody doing ARM rate in a long time. And I haven't seen 15 year either in a long time. I think the standard question everyone always asks is, when are the rates going to drop? Of course, none of us have a crystal ball. We don't know. Are we going to see 3% again? I mean, eventually, anytime soon. I'd say not in the next year or two, probably not. And just my opinion, and you tell me what you think, Vanessa. But I would say, we're still in a seller's market here locally. I know each state's different, each city's different, and it is slowed down here some. But I
Mm-hmm.
think if rates were to drop to 5% here, that we would see, price, a lot of inventory get flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it again, and it's kind of been about the same, just over 2,000 active homes on the market in our market, surrounding areas. Typically, I think of what I know Neil's always told us, like 4 to 5,000 is typically, the average to be a balanced market.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're definitely half of that. So if rates were to drop to 5%, I think we would see, definitely a bidding war happen again and
Yeah,
stuff like that. What do you think?
I agree. But I think we have to remember, at least for those buyers that are like desperately waiting for the rates to drop so they can buy a house. I think it's good to remember that if the rates drop, the house prices go up. And so that's definitely something to consider if you guys are just waiting for rates to drop.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I'll admit I said this when it happened, but we heard the term, marry the was it date the rate, marry the house. I think you've heard that too, obviously.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, but then I got a lot of heat from that from a lot of people. Oh, don't do you say it? And you get people in in a bind possibly and be house owners like, oh yeah, I didn't not that we're trying to do that by any means, but
yeah,
I guess when people said that, just in case and you listen and wonder what we mean by that is, the rates are going to go down, they're going to go back up, they're going to go back down. If you can afford the house at 7%. And you think you'll be fine, and definitely don't go over your head, then get it at 7%. The rates are going to drop. You just got to time it right. Of if it goes to 6.5, is it really worth it to buy it at 6.5? And we wait till to get to 6 or something like that. Yeah, definitely be smart about it.
Yeah, because we've seen it before, and I know you've had sellers that have been in this situation before where they bought the house when the rates were at 2-3%, but it's like, for example, buying a house now that's worth $200,000 at the rate that we have now, and then the rates do drop to 3%. You can always refinance your home instead of buying a house when the rates are at 2 or 3%, and it's $100,000 more than what it is now. Yeah, because a lot of people weren't even able to sell their house after they bought it on, during the crazy market, because they had bought it for too much and the house was just not, they weren't getting anything back for it yet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right now, people who bought during the COVID times at 3%, 2.5%, 2%, are now they're wanting to sell, and they got some equity. So they bought a house for $200,000, and now they got to sell, or they want to sell, or have to sell because they PCS'd somewhere else, or whatever the reason may be. Now they're they say the house is worth $250,000, $260,000. They bought it for $200,000, and they've had it for a couple of years now. Maybe they owe $190,000 on it. We'll just say, for argument's sake. And now they're like, oh, good, I got some equity in my home. But you go to buy the next house. Obviously, that house has gone up in price from what it was 2-3 years ago, and then the interest rates are at 7% now, roughly. So it's tough for them too. And they're like, well, they're thinking, shit, I don't want to sell because why would I? I'm in a good spot. I mean, I can't blame them for that either. So. Everyone's saying, "Oh, we're going to a buyer's market." Yes, we're headed that way, but we're not. I don't think we're quite there just yet. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So, what would you say? You got a few listings. I got a few listings. What are you seeing? Like what I guess what I would say is pricing for any sellers out there. What do you recommend? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I 100%. And I know we've talked about it, in other videos before, but just pricing your house right is really what's going to make the biggest impact on whether you sell it or not. I mean, obviously, if it's, the house is clean and it's presented well and it doesn't smell like wet dog, I mean, those things will help too. But the price, I think, is going to be the main thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a listing I have right now, and it's sitting in the market a little longer than we would like it to. It's in a great area, but unfortunately, some of the feedback that we've gotten for that house is that it's priced too high. So we try to remind sellers that's important for you guys to price it right, especially if you want to sell it in a timely manner, because I know that a lot of people that are moving, especially here when we're, in a military town, they are on like a time limit. So, hey, I have to be out of this house by this time, and I have to be able to purchase another house by this time. But if you don't if you don't price your house right, it might be sitting a lot longer than what you want it to, and then you're going to be stuck with either two mortgages or you're waiting on this one house to sell so that you can buy your other home.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Mhm.
I was showing homes today to a buyer, and most of the homes, which is great for him and his wife, but they've been on the market 40, 50, 60 days. You see the history, the price drops. And he was asking me, he's like, man, these homes been on the market and then 50 days is not a long time. 40 days is not a long time. Actually, it's probably pretty standard, but I think everyone's used to that, 10 days on the market and it's sold next week or it's pending by next week and it's got multiple offers. Those days are definitely over. We've said that
Mhm.
1,000 times for the past couple of years. It's not like that anymore. So he's in a good spot, and he's two homes he's looking at today that he likes, and he's gonna make a decision probably today or tomorrow of which one he wants to put an offer on possibly. But he's got buyers got choices now. They don't have to
Mhm.
run through the house like a maniac and go, okay, let's put an offer in. Vanessa. Let's do it. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially when the house is when they see it's been sitting on the market for a while, you know that you have more negotiation room because that seller is now desperate to sell it. So you can ask for a closing cost or buyer incentives or lowering the price of the house. You have a lot more room for negotiation the longer a house has been on the market.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Mhm.
it's. I'm going to read a script off that I read a couple days ago, and it makes total sense. This guy, he's a realtor, and he put, for what he says to some listing appointments is, I'm not here to tell you what your home is worth. I'm here to tell you what buyers will actually pay for. There are two different numbers. Which one do you want to hear first? It
Mm.
makes total sense. I mean, it may be a little, blunt and to the point, but why, don't sugarcoat it. Exactly. I
Maybe we
mean,
should start using that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your house could be worth 300,000, and we're not saying it's not worth 300,000, but a buyer in this market this time is not going to pay 300,000.
Hmm.
Possibility. There's always that one or two that's you may get lucky on. Like I did about a month ago. Um, Listed a house and got within a couple of days. We went with multiple offers, and a cash buyer bought it for 3,000 over the asking price, and we just
Mm.
closed on it about a week ago. So it does happen. I didn't expect that with that house. Not saying it was it. I didn't expect it because it was just 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,200 square feet. Nothing special about it. It was a nice house, but I didn't expect that. But
Mm.
it was in Hope Mills, and it was in a nice area, and it's close to everything. So,
Nice.
but I had a house, this one that it's pending now, but another house in the same neighborhood. We're talking like you throw a rock at it from the other house. Enough. And I was like, everyone sat there for almost 60 days. We had two price drops. I'm like, geez,
Yeah.
it's, it was a little bigger house, so maybe the higher price point was a difference. Not sure. So it was like, man, this is really weird. It's both houses, both great, and good condition, in my opinion. So it was really strange, but,
Yeah. Well, I think you're definitely right on that. Maybe the price difference. Because what are we at for median price point right now? Like 250, 260.
oh yeah, I would say floating between 230 to about 260, 270. And
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, what do we usually get? Like criteria wise, what is it like 3 to 4 bedrooms?
Yeah, three, four
Yeah.
bedrooms. I think anything between 1,500 and 2,000 square feet is like pretty average.
Yeah. Typically a garage.
Mhm.
If it's an older home, then it might be a carport. But I think that's kind of the standard that we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
For that. So we're still better than most markets, most cities and most states, definitely for cost of living, for the market itself compared to most other people. So
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about Raleigh a few minutes ago, had an hour and a half the street, and the houses up there are double what they are here. Still affordable, depending on where you're coming from. Like you're moving here from California, yeah, it's probably definitely a whole lot better. That
Yeah.
so, um, so I'm gonna put one more article. Well, not one more, but one more right now. Let me see. Get this thing going. So this one is came out from Fortune. The American housing market is in a deep freeze. Even lower prices aren't enough to convince stubborn buyers. Those damn stubborn buyers. What the hell, Vanessa? Little crap going on here.
Yep, we've seen a few of those.
The American new home is now cooling with softer sales, higher inventory, falling price reflecting the current slowdown. The latest new residential sales report for June of 2025 from the U.S. Census Bureau shows that the U.S. housing market is experiencing a slowdown in newly single-family home sales, while inventory and supplies have increased and prices are declining. As buyers bulk at high home prices and mortgage rates that continue to approach 7%, as we just talked about, a recent Oxford economics report predicts more pain ahead. More pain, really. Damn.
Oh, Lord.
Shit, man. Can we catch it? Concerns about the economy and job security mean that many would be new purchasers are. I can't talk today. Concerns about the economy and job security mean many would be new home purchasers are opting to make the modest home improvements instead. And being there for Bragg, I think we're of course, you're a military spouse. People are we're kind of lucky in our market, or for anybody who has a market where they're a military town. People are going to come here, they're going to move, and typically people are going to buy a house. They're going to use BH to buy a house, and they're okay. So we're a pretty lucky market, I think. For that.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you're not in the military, that's kind of all you got. Now, there's no other, and there's too, and no other. There's no striving job market here. We're not like Raleigh or Durham or Charlotte, where you get a big tech job at some bank and or Apple or Google or some car company, stuff like that. So, I mean, what do you with lowering prices? I mean, we're not lowering. Any ideas, suggestions you got, or what do you think sellers should do? I know we talked about this a few minutes ago, and I know we said lower prices, but I mean, what do you think about closing? I mean, you're in a contract with a home. You were in a contract a couple weeks ago with another home. I mean, what did you want to get, without going into details of their own personal stuff?
Yeah.
And for is negotiations wise, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, it's like I told you earlier. I think that even though it's not a buyer's market yet, they have more negotiation room now. So definitely, if sellers can offer buyer incentives, that is probably like the second most important thing. then after pricing it right, buyer incentives, maybe closing costs. I know you've seen it, we've seen it, that they're asking more and more for that. I have a deal now that is getting $6,000 in buyer incentives, so they can use that towards closing costs, towards points, towards whatever they want. One thing to remember, though, because we are in a VA community, the VA only allows up to 4% of the purchase price in buyer incentives, so you can't ask for more than that. But I mean, even still, then that's a huge chunk, chunk of money.
Yeah, definitely. So if we did get my trusty calculator out. So at the house of 300,000 times 4%, you're looking at $12,000. So yeah, definitely, it's still a good chunk. I mean, that's probably more than enough if someone was buy a $300,000 home and got a closing cost of $12,000, roughly, depending on their credit and then their, of course, their history of all that stuff, and debt to income plays going to play a part in it. But yeah, $12,000 is still a nice chunk. I could definitely do it. I just closed on a new construction on the Hernandez family, the one you're doing the gift for.
Yeah.
And, it is new construction home. So as you know, with new construction, a lot of incentives, and they gave them. I think they had to, because they want a fence at their house is a little different. The builder is building a fence for them, so they had to come out of pocket for the difference. But the builder actually gave them credit, and then after the sale closed, which it just did, they're going to get the money right back to them to build a fence.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's kind of like they paid themselves.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Like working with builders is lovely. Like, we love it because they are willing to work as far as giving buyers what they want: closing costs, cabinets, different cabinets, refrigerator, whatever the case may be. They offer a lot more than, you know, a homeowner can offer if their house is already being purchased as like a pre-sale.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was, you know, just on MLS the other day. I saw some new construction homes reduce their price, and I haven't seen that in a while.
Mm.
So you definitely know the market is, you know, a little tougher now because usually it's been a while since the new construction lowered their prices too. And you know, we is, you know, well, I don't know if we'll say their name or not, but you know, like one, you know, not as a bad thing, but you know, like one builder we work with a lot. I mean, they reached out to you personally. The builder did, and was like, you know, how can we make a deal happen? And it's like, what do you need? And it's like, wow, I mean, we'd
They're
love to make
super
a deal
flexible.
happen.
Yeah.
Make a deal happen, but it's not our decision. I mean, as you know,
Yeah.
you know, so, and you know, he reached out to me also. You know, he called you. I felt a little stung by that.
You wanted a personal call.
Yeah. He emailed me. He's like, yeah, I'll email James, but let me call the number 2 best realtor.
That should tell you something, James.
I know, right? I know. Jeez, still in my title. I mean, you know, of number 2.
Wow.
You know, but yeah,
number 2 best realtor.
But you know, we're definitely seeing a change there. I mean, you know, and you know, like I've got a house that's listed, and we've dropped the price again, and you know, he's, you know, it's, you know, he's paying 2 mortgages, and he's getting a little worried, and you know, I am too for him. I mean, you know, nobody wants to do that, and he's like asking me, you know, what can we do? And his house is around, you know, just over 400,000, so it's in a price range that we just mentioned. You know, our median price range is 220, 260. So his house is, I think it's priced right now. You know, he can keep dropping it, but you know, he was telling me the other day, he's like, at this point, I don't know if I could pay the buyer agent's commission. I was like, well, let's cool our jets here. Let's not drop it anymore. I mean, you know, it's, and he was like wondering why. He's like, well, they can pay their own commission. I was like, well, you may be hurting yourself there. And he's like, why? And I had to explain to him. I said, you know, because a buyer's going to call me, as you know, and they're going to go, hey, we'll put an offer in. What are you offering? Like, well, 0. They were like, and then their buyer may go, well, I'm not paying your commission. I can't afford to pay it. Not that they may not want to, but you got a down payment, as you home inspections, all, you know, all the bells and whistles, closing costs maybe too. They may be asking him for a closing cost. And I told him, I said, you know, they may go, well, they can't afford to pay my commission, so I'm not going to help them on this house. And he's like, oh, I see. So, you know, that's not news he wanted to hear, but unfortunately, I definitely wanted to tell him. I didn't want to string him along and make him think something else. So,
yeah.
So you're under contract now with, and then how long was that home on the market for that you're under contract with?
I don't think it was too bad. I think it's like 17 days or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Yeah, they got yeah.
No, and it's a beautiful home. And again, the seller was willing to work with us as far as buyer incentives go.
Okay. Yeah. And then you mentioned 6,000. Yeah. And then they're and how much due diligence money did he put down?
He had put down 500 because he was under contract previous to that, and he had put down just a little bit more, but unfortunately had to back out of that because when inspections came, there was, I believe, a big mold issue in that house. And so he didn't want to lose that money again. So I said, look, we don't have to put down that much due diligence on this one. And just let's see what happens. And yeah, they accepted the offer.
That's great. Yeah. So even with 70 days on market, you know, still not that due diligence that was a low amount by any means. I think that's more than fair. And of course, you know, I know we got the buying side, so I think it is. But you know, honestly, I think that's more than fair. And then they still got $6,000 in closing costs, even with 17 days on market, and that's awesome. That's a great job there, because I'm surprised to see that, because I think most people, you know, if that had been, you know, 2, 3, 4 months ago, maybe, and you know, I think 17 days they'd been like, no, we're not giving you 6,000. You know, you can come back with that later. But now it's definitely a complete 180. So
And we also went under asking price too. So
Oh
they
wow.
didn't
Okay.
come in as, yeah.
Okay.
And I think another thing too that, maybe doesn't have a whole lot to do with this topic, but even once under your contract, once after you're under contract, the sellers can still, or the buyers can still back out at any point. And so we did the inspections for that house, and they had a pretty significant list of things that they wanted repaired on the home. And, as you know, in North Carolina, we are a buyer beware state. So sellers are not legally obligated to fix anything in the home. And again, he was willing to repair. I think there was like one or two things on our list that he said no to, but everything else he was willing to repair. And so again, that helps keep the deal together, because then, the buyers don't back out because they're like, well, I'm getting a house that needs a bunch of repairs, so I don't want this house anymore. And they had already backed out once before. So I knew this buyer would definitely back out if he didn't like what was in the inspection. But luckily enough, the seller was willing to work with us as far as repairs during the inspection.
Yeah. The house I was talking about a few minutes ago, that's in the same neighborhood as the one I had multiple offers. We got we're on a contract now. We finally got an offer and close next 2 weeks or so. He was, I said he was asking about inspections too. Well, definitely about repairs. And how much do you think they'll cost? I'm like, well, we don't know what he's asking for yet. And then it came back, and it wasn't a lot of things on there. It was like 6 or 7, but I think 4 of them were like really tiny issues, and like toilet seat loose or something like that. Like one of the light switches didn't work, and he's like, "Oh, the bulb's out." No problem there. So he was pretty happy with that. And I think he's our handyman, and it's gonna cost him he's doing some stuff himself, but $300-400 to fix the rest of the stuff, which isn't bad. So he's happy with that. So yeah, it's good when for definitely for buyers. I think it's in I know we're realtors, and people will say, "Oh, how's the market?" Oh, it's great. Well, not always. If you're a seller, not right now. Not saying don't list your house by any means. You have to, but be smart about it. But it is a good time for buyers, and I think predominantly, we both work with buyers. Most, I think, that. So it's a great time for that, because again, they have choices. They don't have to rush around town and wonder what's hey, should I do this? Should I not do that? Definitely sleep on it. So great time for buyers, and I'm not just saying that because we're realtors. I showed a house a couple of days ago, and I was with Stephanie, my wife Stephanie, and then she's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Nice house, but I would not pay this price for it." And I said, "Would you?" And she's, "You wouldn't?" I said, "No." I said, "Would you?" She's like, And she started thinking about it. She's like, "I don't think, yeah, I wouldn't either." And we're not gonna say the house and that stuff, but I mean, it's just even our, even I'll if a buyer asks me, I'll tell them the truth of what I think. If they ask my opinion, or I'll just give it to them anyway. We're gonna tell them what we think, and yeah, so it's just man, I tell you, we 17 open house yesterday, and only one person showed up.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
yeah. I mean, they're yeah, it all sucked. But
Wow.
I mean, it's and I'm not I'm not the only one seeing it. I mean, I've seen people, our realtor, associates on Facebook and social media in general. Oh man, I was at open house and no one showed up, or one person showed up, or 2 people showed up. Stuff like that, and it's getting that kind of we're over that PCS season almost now, so it's tough, and it's like we usually we at least for an open house, we at least 2-hour period, at least 3 or 4 people show up if you can. So that's saw that, and then I mean people showed up seemed interested. They were there for about 20 minutes, which is a good thing.
Okay.
But other than that, that's kind of it. And then I forget where I'm going with this. Oh yeah, I know where I'm going with this. So, I was talking to her, and and she was like, hey, if should we drop the price? I'm like, well, we just hit the market. Let's give it a couple more weeks. I mean, it's only been a week. It's one showing there, and it's a house that's just under 400,000. It's like over 380, 380 and 400,000. It's got a pool, so it's a good area and all that stuff. So, it's going to take the right buyer. It's just, again, it's in a price range where people can't afford typically in our area. So you eventually going to sell it, but then you're going to lose your shirt on it too. So, she's moving to South Carolina, so she's got to sell this one to buy the next one. So, so she's doesn't want to be in a cardboard box, unfortunately. I don't know why.
Why ever would that be?
What's that?
Why ever would that be?
No. So, it's just, the open house was, I was like, and then Stephanie did one like about a month ago, and nobody showed up to that one. And I
feel like we have to start throwing like parties and free food during these open houses just to get people to come to them.
I'll tell you, I see these other realtors, and they do these mega open houses. Yeah. They got a food truck out front, and they paid for the food truck already. And I'm like, that seems like a lot of money.
I mean, look, if we were like maybe New York price range, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But when we're
and not to cut you off, but it's got to be a right house too. I mean, and what I mean by that, not necessarily $1 million home, but something in the middle of the city, or that's where you can get that drive-through traffic of someone driving by going, what's going on over there? They got balloons and clowns and and someone's got a food truck out there and they're throwing bowling pins in the air. What's going on over there? And and the drive out in the country, house like out in Linden or something like that wouldn't do any good. I don't think.
Yeah,
it'd be the right house too. So
yeah, you're right.
Let me pull up the next article here. Let's see. Oops, let me close this. So is the U.S. housing market finally shifting towards buyers? Yes, it is. Definitely. For the first time in years, buyers are finally gaining the upper hand over sellers in the U.S. housing market. Is listing surge across the country, and yet for many Americans trying to get on the property ladder. I'm sorry. Okay, let's say something.
Sorry, no.
No, it hardly feels like a victory worth celebrating, considering mortgage rates are still hovering around 7%. Market prices are still near the pandemic peaks. And again, we're beating the dead horse here. We keep playing that same record, but they're just not that price anymore. The truth is that despite rising inventory, dwindling sales, giving buyers more options and more negotiating power, the U.S. is not technically a buyer's market. Imagine that. Not yet a buyer's market. That
sounds like something I've been hearing over and over from you.
Yeah, I heard it at a party. Someone had a party about 2 weeks ago, for a great little boy. He turned 10. And somebody at the party was saying that it was a seller's market. And I was like, it's not a seller's market yet. But what do I know?
You happen to be a realtor, or a self-professed realtor?
Yeah, his family were real estate agents. His dad's Donald Trump, and he knew it all. And and us second best realtors, what do we know? He was number one. We're number two. We're both number two. We're tied.
Oh, that's who it is.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Everyone's probably like, who the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
But okay, so if you use your month supply, the hallmark metric of whether or not we're in a buyer seller's market, we are not in a buyer's market. Chief economist of Realtor.com said that. The chief economist at Realtor.com said that. Danielle Hall or Hale or Hall. Anyway, that's what she said. So I mean, she's the chief economist at Realtor.com. She knows her shit.
Exactly.
Said in a statement Newsweek, the U.S. has a 4.4 month supply in May, meaning that, and this is nationally, of course, meaning that if homes sold at current pace, buyers would go through the number of listings available in 4.4 months. This is what you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, if we have like 2 or 2.5 months of inventory.
And that's locally for us, right?
Yeah, and ours is a little better just because of the base, and we have that constant influx.
Okay, so basically, I would say from what you told me earlier, and this is off the air, guys. If you're wondering what we're talking about, Vanessa asked me, what's our, what inventory we have. You mentioned she found it was what's it 2 point. What was it again? I'm sorry.
2 to 2.5 months of inventory.
Okay, so basically, if you read this article, and the chief economist said, if we were to keep selling homes at this rate and everything was good, we'd be out of supplies in 4.4 months.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in May. Obviously, it's not that kind. So if we were to, all of a sudden doing real good in our market, then in 2.5 months, we'd be out of houses. Yep. So like I said earlier, if we drop down to 5%, I think we'd see a real influx of buyers all of a sudden, even at 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So while some are calling this housing market a buyer's market, I would say the market is shifting to a buyer's friendly direction. We're moving here from pretty seller-friendly market housing to one with more balance, he said. So headed to a balanced market, not necessarily a buyer's market, from what you're saying. Let's see. I'm going to read the whole article to you guys. Just trying to find up some pinpoints. But okay, that's kind of it right for that one. But, it just goes right back to, what we've been saying is, and how the hell do I close this thing? There we go. So it goes right back to what we were just saying. It's getting back to a balanced market. Definitely great for buyers, as you heard Vanessa just give her, and you were under contract with another house, and again, you want to say there all their information, but how did that go? I mean, how was the negotiation with that? What would you get them?
This is my last one. I was under contract with one, and unfortunately we had to back out. She had to back out because she's a soldier and she got orders to PCS somewhere else unexpectedly. And so it was at no fault to either the seller or the buyer. It was
go number 2.
It was just one of those. But for the offer, I got her closing costs. And so, I mean, if it would have gone through, if she wouldn't have gotten her PCS orders, we probably would have moved right along. And she came in at a little under asking price. I want to say maybe $2,000 under asking price. And we got her closing cost, but I'm trying to figure out if we did the 4% max or if we just did like 10,000 closing costs, but it was on a little bit higher end price. And so we did get her, I'm going to say it was 10,000 for closing cost.
Nice. And how much was the price of the house?
It was like 310. I think we came in at 3. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. So you got 10,000 off the price of the house. And then how much in closing costs again?
I want to say 10,000 in closing costs.
So 20,000.
Yeah, because I remember we almost came in at the 4% max.
Okay. So,
mm-hmm.
And how long was that house on the market for?
James, you have to remember, I don't have the stupid memory crazy stupid memory you do.
Number 2.
I want to say it had been on the market for a while, but I can't give you an exact number. But it had been.
I mean, you don't have to give me exact number, but at least a good month or 2, maybe.
Yes, it was over a month, and it wasn't because the house was. I thought the price was fine, and everything was fine with the house. It's on the higher end, and so, like we said before, those tend to sit a little bit longer than our median price range.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's great. I mean, you basically got 20,000 off the price of this house for your client, which is fantastic. Even though it's, the closing costs and the price, and, end of the day, you come to the closing table, they're getting 20,000, off the price of this house. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the equity, if they got it, I don't know who the realtor was, and it's, doesn't even matter, but if they priced it correctly, they might have got some equity too, so, I mean.
Yeah. The house appraised at 2,000 over. What?
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you get your appraisal back too. Okay. Yep. So right there, they already got some equity too. So I mean, do you remember how much equity maybe?
For the appraisal?
Yeah.
2,000 over.
Oh, 2,000 over. Okay. Mm-hmm. So roughly 22,000. I mean, she had equity in her home, and that's great. I mean, that's and been on market for a couple months. Obviously, the would you say the sellers were like motivated to sell? Would you say?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were also a military family that was leaving. And so they were, probably feeling the pressure of like, we need to sell it now because.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, right there. I mean, Best is showing you guys. I mean, in our local market, that's what we're seeing here. It's great for buyers. If you're looking at something and we a lot of buyers are, there's that myth going around, up here, you need 20% to buy a house. No, you don't. If you're using a VA loan, 0%, it's no money down. So if you have yeah, exactly. Closing costs, yes, you do have closing costs, but you just heard what Vanessa said. She got them $10,000 in closing costs for houses, $300,000 roughly, and $10,000 off the price of the house. She probably could have got more closing costs and maybe less off the price of the house too. I would say initially part of all their closing costs is paid for, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So all their closing costs is paid for that client. They came out of pocket due diligence. How much was that?
She did 2,000 due diligence.
Okay. So
and it's a little bit more than we typically see now, but she did 2,000 due diligence.
Yeah. But I mean, the good thing is if she had bought a house and had a PCS, I mean, that's beyond her control, obviously. But she'd have got that back. It should have closed, and then she would have got God. Now we're looking at 24,000. She would have got back all. She'd have got paid at closing, basically.
Yeah.
And then she paid $400 or $500 for a home inspection, termite inspection. So technically, out of pocket, at the end of the day, she only paid for a home inspection and a termite inspection, $500. Mm-hmm. And that whole myth of 20% down. No, you don't. Yeah, it's altogether, yeah. I mean, if you add up the down payment, if you even went FHA loan or conventional, you're looking at 3 or 3.5, maybe 5%. Then with closing costs, but you don't know till you get into it. I mean, definitely have money set aside for that. If you're looking at a house, yes, it's a good idea to have your closing costs set aside. Get with a lender, if you have a realtor. If you don't, reach out to us. Vanessa here to help. Let me throw Vanessa. Yeah. Vanessa's number right there. She likes being called late at night.
Oh my goodness.
After midnight. Her husband really likes that. He likes to call and wake him up. He enjoys that a lot. So give her a call.
I'm gonna forward all my calls to your cell phone.
But definitely reach out to a realtor, and a lender too. I mean, and if you don't have either, or you just have questions, we're here to help you guys. I mean, we're more than happy to give you our advice and guidance and tell you what we think. And we're not always right. We're only number 2 realtors in town. But we'll if we can't find the answer, we don't know the answer, we'll definitely find it for you.
Yeah.
We got a good team with us, and with our mentor. He's been doing this for 43 years, so he's seen it all, done it all.
He's ancient.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm joking. If you knew him, you would know that he would laugh. No. No, but I think for those buyers that are wanting to buy and then they're scared because they feel like they need a whole bunch of money down, I think that just to let you guys know, there's ways around it. You obviously are going to have to be flexible with what you want because, you can't come in asking for a new build and it's only been on the market one day and ask for closing costs and buyer incentives and all of those things. You have to be strategic with it. But just to give you guys some encouragement, like for the people that feel like I don't have enough money to buy a house yet, there's ways around it, especially if you qualify for a VA loan that already takes care of your down payment. If you're looking at homes that have been on the market longer, you probably have a better chance of them paying closing costs. And so there's just little tricks here and there that we can do to help you guys not have to bring in a whole bunch of money to your closing cost. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like when I said, we had down payment assistance programs through NC Housing, and we know lenders that not every lender can do that program. We have lenders that specialize in that program. So again, reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with those lenders. Even if you're not buying here and you're buying somewhere else in North Carolina, we can definitely get you in touch with those lenders. We also know some lenders who have in-house programs, down payment assistance programs, that you may like even better than that one. That is closed on a house in St. Paul's, 20 minutes down the street. And she's with one company and they needed down payment assistance. And they had a VA loan, but they needed some assistance. And she was able to get 20,000 from because she's a Lumbee tribe member. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And she only has to, what she can't use that money for is to buy the house and then turn around and sell it like next week, because they would say, yeah, give our money back to us. But after 5 years, she is free and clear. So if she want to get a bigger house, or if she had a, downsize, or whatever the case may be, things happen in life where she may have, have a bigger family later. She said that's her forever home, and I'm sure it will be, but you just never know what life gives you. So, but that's great. I mean, and because she's a Lumbee tribe member. Then she also got North Carolina housing, which is another 15,000. So she got 35,000 in
oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And of course she didn't use all of that, but then she was able to use, they paid off her closing costs and her down payment, and anything remaining went to her loan and brought down her loan.
Nice.
Yeah. So the house was 255. Yeah, exactly. So the house 255, and I can't do the math and figure all that stuff out. But yeah, she made out, and her husband are super happy. The kids are happy, all that stuff. So yeah, definitely, like Vanessa said, any programs, we can definitely get you in touch with some lenders. And if you want that program, we can find another lender who does some programs. Yeah, some more programs too. So definitely not a problem there. So, oops, I got the right article. Let me see.
Now you got me thinking Neil's going to be mad because I called him ancient.
Right now, but hey, Neil, we're live.
No, please don't.
So let me see. So here is the next article. So this one's a short one, but it says North Carolina housing market isn't that competitive. The median home price sale in January 2025 had decreased in 3 months from 367. Am I reading right? Yeah, in passing with 367. That's up 3.8% and 13,500 higher than January 2024 of last year. So of course this is nationally through North Carolina, not just us locally, because that price range.
Probably closer to the beach. Those houses look like the Wilmington houses.
I know, right? Jeez. Homes typically sell after about 63 days on the market, which is slower than the national average and higher than 49 days in January 2024. So for the North Carolina as a whole state, they're saying average of 63 days on market, which is a little slower than throughout all 50 states at 49 days, especially a year ago. So again, it's all the markets are seeing it, I think, obviously, and seeing the crunch right now and what's happening.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's it's totally into the world. And definitely, and there's another article I'm going to bring up here too. Okay, this one really got my attention. I was surprised. You'll be surprised too. Let's see what you think. So pull it up. So, I don't know, can you read that, Vanessa?
4 states where home prices are expected to crash in the next 12 months. Uh-oh.
All right. So, what state would you say? If you had a guess.
California, Florida, New York. Oh, Florida. Did we pass? Is that's the first one?
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah.
My goodness. Not Texas.
Yeah.
No. Wait, is North Carolina on there?
Yeah, North Carolina's on here. I was like, when I saw this, I was like, no way. I was like, I was really shocked. Yeah, I was really shocked. And I know you're from Texas, not to say anything bad about Texas by any means, but as you know, because you're from there, it's a huge state, and a lot of people are moving there from California.
And taxes are insane in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, I understand why Texas, not saying it's a bad state, but it's just everything's high there.
Yeah.
North Carolina, we're kind of a hidden gem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It really depends on everybody, but I for the most part, people, other than Charlotte, and it even says right here in the article, North Carolina has
Mm.
seen home values fall around the state, particularly in most populous cities like Charlotte and Raleigh, which we know those are our two biggest
Yeah.
cities in North Carolina. If you guys didn't know, across the state, home values are down 0.6% in the last year, but in Raleigh, the downside is simply larger, with average home values down by 2.2 in the last year. So,
Mm.
yeah, I mean that's I don't think it's terrible numbers. I don't think we're headed for a market crash in the next 12 months. Um, Not North Carolina, California. Yeah, they've been on a downfall since for years. Sorry
Mm.
for California. Anybody out there and you felt offended by that? Bad.
Come to
Um,
North Carolina, call
yeah.
us.
And definitely Florida, like and this. Me and Stephanie's went to Miami. We got back from Miami last week, and we met up with some clients of mine. I don't know if they may be listening to this. They found me on YouTube. Melissa, Frank, if you're out there, hello. But we went out to dinner with them, and they want to move here. They want to move here for at least almost a good year now. We are just talking about a dinner. They live in Miami, and their house is around 700,000. And they want to move here and buy a house around 300,000, 400,000, and not to put their business out there, but they're just like, they grew up there. They're from Miami. They grew up there. All that stuff is just so crowded there. Traffic's bad. I mean, he drives to work every morning 2 hours one way and 2 hours. And so he's, after spending 8 or 9 hour day at work, he's driving for another 4 hours. I mean, I'm like, wow. And when we were there, I mean, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we were stuck on a highway. I was like, "You gotta be joking me! It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday. How are we stuck in traffic? Everyone should be at work."
Yeah.
It was strange. I mean, I was like, "Wow, it's like California and New York. At least New York got subways, and the metro system." So I was surprised on that. But they were just telling me they almost their house only been on the market for a year, and they still want to move here to our area, but they're just like, they've had like, I think 4 or 5 showings of their house, and 700,000, and I don't know their market that well, but that's the average price there. I mean, for their house, they got a pool and everything. It is Miami, so I mean, but they're like, yeah, and their realtor, real nice guy. He's just like, yeah, I've got several listings like that. You're not the only one. Well, Florida, I definitely saw on that list, as you mentioned. Texas, I was a little out. I said like not surprised, but I don't think it's, and again, I don't know these marks, but Texas, I don't see Texas, especially not us. I mean, I don't know who made the
No.
yeah, Yahoo Finance. They need to get a grip.
They need to go to.
About.
They need to go get their info off Zillow.
Yeah, right. I mean, we need to ChatGPT this thing, because I don't. I mean, what do you think? Do you think North Carolina's headed?
No, I think even just looking at the different states like Texas and North Carolina, and then the specific cities in those states that are mentioned are probably the cities that have the most hiked up prices. So I can see why the home value is going down, 0.6% in Charlotte and Raleigh, because home prices were really jacked up, really high there. I don't think that's the case here with us, and I don't think our home values have dropped either, at least not here in Fayetteville. So I don't know if it's just pertaining to those cities that are like super, like, metro cities, super popular, and the prices were just so high that now they're stagnant or they're dropping. What do you think? Why do you think those are on there?
I have no. Why North Carolina's on here? I have no clue. I'm pretty shocked on that one.
Yeah.
Like you said, we don't know every city. We know Charlotte and Raleigh, like we said earlier, are two biggest cities here, and that I could see Charlotte and Raleigh. But I don't think like Raleigh. An average price house in Raleigh is like we'll say 500,000 just for argument's sake. But I'm sorry, we got a question here. Oops, I think we have a question. Did I miss it? I think I missed it. Oh.
Way to go, number 2.
Are you guys still located in Fayetteville? Yes, we're still located in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we still are. We're still here. So if you need to reach out, call Vanessa. She likes to be called late at night again, like I said.
No, you can call me if it's at 2 a.m. You can call James.
But yeah, we're still here in Fayetteville. But yeah, I'm Raleigh. We'll say 500,000 average price home there.
I have Charlotte at almost 450 for median.
Okay.
Yeah.
So So the Vanessa got numbers in front of her. So 450 in Charlotte, and I would say Raleigh's probably about the same, 450, 500,000. That compared to California and Florida. Oh my God! I mean, I think we definitely are still a great state in general to move to cost of living wise, and not just the housing market, but just everything else too. Our gas prices are fluctuating depending on where you go to, of course, between 260 to about 280. I mean, 285. I'm about right about that. Yeah, and I'm not sure about Texas and the other states. I mean, I know it was just in Florida, but I can't remember the prices there. But I know California's off the chain. So
yeah, listen to this. The median price for an existing single-family home in California was $904,000 in April.
God dang.
According to the California Association of Realtors. That's $1 million home. That's the average.
Wow. So you could sell your house there for $1 million. That's everybody in California. If you're listening to this, sell your house in California and go ahead and move here, and you can buy your house cash.
You could buy 5 houses here, rent out the other. Yep.
Oh, okay. So you want to read that question?
Yeah, I'm PCSing back to Fort Bragg, and my husband and I are deciding whether or not to buy out there or rent. Fayetteville isn't the same as it was back when I was there in 2016. I love Fayetteville, but I wasn't here in 2016, so I don't know what she's referring to as is if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But I think so. For at least for military, I always recommend to buy because you're getting that money. Like, why you do something with it? I've been a military spouse for 16 years now, and so I still always recommend that. Our market is still good for you to buy right now. I know we've seen on the news that prices might drop, but interest rate. I think that if you buy at a good home price right now before the rates drop and houses go back up, then you can always refinance for the 2-3% if they were to drop back down to that rate. What do you think, James? I know I hate doing that because it sounds like we're recommending you to buy just because we want a sell, right? But honestly, that's really not the case. Whether you buy from any other realtor, especially being in the military, I would always recommend that you do buy and not rent.
Yeah, I agree. And we're not trying to be, like we're smelling commission checks. We're getting all excited here, but it really is your preference. I mean, whether you rent or you buy, it's totally up to you. And I was never in the military, but definitely if you're getting a BEH and whatever you may get, if it can cover you buying a house, and instead of using it towards a rental, someone else's rent, someone else's mortgage, I say build your own equity and build up your own investment portfolio. And I don't know what your decisions are. If you're probably thinking, oh, well, if we PCS another 2, 3, 4 years again, we're going to sell this property or we're not going to rent it out. And that could be the case too. And you had no goals to do that, which is fine, but of course. But if you buy a house now, let's say for $200,000, and you go to sell 3, 4, 5 years, houses typically appreciate 2% on average every year. Would you say, Vanessa? Yeah.
Well, I know we did a video last year where we did the numbers on it, and we were at 4%.
Okay.
I'm sure they've done some now, but it's still not under.
Yeah. So we'll say 3% just for argument's sakes. But so 3% in 3, 4 years, you're looking at you could sell it and make a little bit of a profit, and you live there. I don't want to say free because you're definitely working hard for your money, but you didn't pay someone else's rent. You didn't live in an apartment or a house for 3, 4 years, and you you did that, and so you could definitely build up your credit, and you made a mortgage payment, and for 3 or 4 years, and then you pass this to another area, no problem, sell it, or if you want to rent it out, you can definitely rent it out too. I think it only helps you, do that. That's just my opinion. Of course, I definitely understand, soldiers moving here, going, okay, I don't plan on being in Fayetteville very long, and I don't want the hassle buying a house and how to fix things, and I don't care. I'm just going to go rent and be out of here a year or two, and go back to wherever, if you're looking at, and that makes total sense too. I totally understand also. Some people just don't want the hassle. So it really depends on you, what's best for you.
And so I have numbers here for 2025. It's reflecting a 5.7 increase.
What is?
Home prices, home appreciation.
Okay.
5.7%.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty good numbers there. Okay.
Yeah. So, and oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, she asked another question, so I don't know if you want to read that out or not.
Would you recommend we sell or keep our home that we have here in Alaska? Our mortgage is about $2,300. It's a 3-2, only 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to depend on your allowance, because remember, if you want to use your VA again, until that home is paid off, your VA allowance is going to be wrapped up in that home. So let's say, for argument's sake, you have the VA allows you up to $500,000, your home cost $400,000 in Alaska. Now you only have $100,000 that you can purchase power here in Fayetteville. So I don't know what your house was worth, what you bought it for, and and the allowance, but it's going to depend on that. Yeah,
because your VA entitlement here, I know in our Fayetteville area it's like 800,000 something. We have to give it the lender to find out the correct amount.
I think it's the same all across. Let me see.
So what Vanessa's trying to say, if you didn't understand, is, let's say your VA entitlement's 800,000. Basically, let's say your house in Alaska, we'll say, is 400,000. I don't know how much it is. And let's say you come here and you're like, hey, we're not going to sell that house. We're going to rent it out. So now you only have 400,000 to spend here. That's probably more than enough. I don't know what your goals are to here, if you need a bigger house, how big your family is. But I would, so that's what that means. If that doesn't make sense, definitely drop another chat in there. Let us know. She said, Alaska's horrendous. Groceries alone are $400 every 2 weeks. We bought it for $330. Okay. So you bought it for $330. It doesn't sound, I don't know what the average price there is, but that's not bad.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean,
well, it's 1,500 square feet. I mean, it's not California.
Yeah, it's not California, but for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, only 1,500 square feet here, you're probably looking around, between $220 to $250. So definitely a good, roughly $100,000 cheaper, or not. I don't say cheaper like it's a bad house, but more affordable. So yeah, grocery prices here. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what chicken. She just grows her own egg. You can't grow eggs. I'm sorry, lays her own eggs.
I don't lay eggs either.
Grow eggs. Yeah, just grow them eggs.
Well, I know the VA loan limit as of January is $806,500 for North Carolina. So you have $330,000 of that wrapped up in Alaska. So that leaves you with $500 that you can use here. Which is a good amount, because our median price range here is $270,000.
Yeah, if you're looking at going $300,000, you'd still be good. If you were looking for, a bigger house, it really depends on what you need.
I would probably check what the rental is like in Alaska. Like if you're probably on a military base, so it's probably not bad in your area. How long the rentals are staying empty. Oh, so you're good.
Yeah, you're good. So your entitlement is the whole 800,000. And and again, we don't know exactly, how big of a house you're looking for. If you're looking for $1 million home, then obviously, he's going to go past your VA entitlement. But if you're looking for the same kind of square footage and size that you have now, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, roughly, yeah, you're looking at, I would say, 250 to 260 at the most, unless you buy new construction.
Yeah.
And then,
Or
yeah,
if you want like the really coveted
yeah,
areas.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Or if you look, or if you buy, and or if you buy a house, like a pre-sale house, but it's really decked out, with, gold tile floors and granite countertops,
Or-
and all the bells and whistles. And yeah,
Mhm.
but I can honestly, I feel pretty confident. I think we do, would say 250, 260 at the most.
Mhm.
Yeah, that you're
Mhm.
looking at here. So, it really would depend on that. So, well, that
Yeah.
answers your question. Definitely, if you've got another one, definitely drop it in there. Let us know. Um, let's see. Oh, let me ask this: when are you guys PCS in here from Alaska? And I'm asking that question like she can answer me.
I know.
Anyway, if she's still listening, if you're still listening, yeah, just let us know when you're PCS, and we'd love to help you if we can, definitely.
Yeah. And I would recommend you look into the rentals in Alaska, like how long are they sitting empty? So that it gives you a good idea of like, hey, should I rent it? Should I not rent it? What's typically if you're going to use a property management office, they're going to want 10% of whatever you collect in rent monthly. And plus they'll probably want you to have a little bit on the side for repair purposes. But if you can hold on to it and it financially it makes sense, hold on to it.
Yeah, definitely get with your a realtor there, where you're at if you haven't already, and if
We can hook
you,
her up with someone there too.
yeah,
That
yeah, definitely, reach out to us. We're happy to help you. We can find you a realtor there if you don't know of one, and then definitely talk to a lender too. We have school kids and the housing market here is booming. Okay, well that's good, especially since we live in what we consider the Jack Britt area in Alaska. Oh wow,
okay?
yeah, she definitely knows her Fayetteville
She
area.
knows Fayetteville.
That's Fayetteville. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. That I mean, if it's booming, that's great. I mean, again, it's going to be a decision you and your husband have to make,
Mhm.
and you do some paper scissors rocks. But if it's booming, maybe it is a good time to sell, or and there's really no wrong or right answer. If it's booming, then maybe hang on to it, and it's obviously your house is going to appreciate. It's not going to depreciate unless you just don't take care of it.
Mhm.
Oh, she reports in February. Okay, so you've got some time now to think about it. So that's about 6 months. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, you have some time to think about it. You don't have to jump on anything right now, but definitely, the market could change in 6 months too. So I would definitely get with your a realtor there if you need one, lender, kind of do some numbers and just see what's best for you. It is Alaska, so if you're going to be, not that it's far away, but another time
Well, it
difference.
is far away.
Well, yeah, it's far away, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking like not overseas, like you're in Germany,
Okay. Okay.
but definitely the time difference and stuff like that. I mean, you got somebody watching your house now or taking care of your house that you can't see no more. So that can be kind of stressful. I totally understand that. When you can't see what's going on and you're not there. So.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's personal preference. Like, do you want to deal with a property management office watching your house or you just want to sell it and get whatever equity you have in it and put it into your home here? Yeah. But we held on to our house until the market was crazy. In our old house when we were stationed at Fort Hood. And I don't know if I've told stories on here before, but man, the renters in there tore up our house. It was so bad. I was telling James, like, they had chucked like dog feces to up in the roof and in the ceiling. It was just a disaster. Now, you don't always get tenants like that. We just had the bad luck of getting a tenant like that. But we sold shortly after that, and we made it quite a bit off of that house because we held on to it for a while after we PCS from there.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, it's an investment.
Yeah.
And again, we're not saying it because we're realtors, but I would say investing in real estate is part of the best things you can do. It's, to me, it's not like the stock market. It's something you can touch, feel, see. You can go look at it. If you buy it and there's more problems with it than you thought, and you're looking at buying it and flipping it and selling it for as a profit real quickly, you may go, oh man, that's cost. You're going to run into stuff like that. You can make a decision, and I've seen people do this where they go, okay, well, we're not going to be able to sell it. Let's just fix what we can and rent it out for the next year, 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, and get some of our money.
Especially if she's in a good area.
Yeah, she's like the jack rid of yeah, definitely, and then then sell it later, and so it's I think it's a great thing, and with that, and definitely just find out what you're what you could price it for. If it's booming, I don't know, maybe a good time. It's really just hard to it's just like Vanessa said, it's your own personal preference. So okay, all right. Well, we're going to wind this down, but one thing I wanted to say. So I had to pull the numbers for the week, and I'll read them off to you guys. This is just for the past week in our market. So we have just over 2,000 active homes on our market. As we said earlier, new listings were 42 new listings this week back on the market, which means it was pending at one time, and now it's back on the market. It's 19 homes. We had price decreases of 278 for the week, which is pretty high. I think about a month ago, we had about 325. So still high, but not as high as it was about a month ago. Increases, which is really, I'm surprised at increases. We had 29. Pending homes for this week were 209 homes. We sold 229 homes and 51 withdrawals from the market this week. So
how many, what price drops? How many price drops did you say?
Price drops, we had 278 price drops this week. Yeah. And then 51 withdrawals. And so, with withdrawals, we just don't know, but it could be they couldn't sell it for whatever reason, not necessarily the realtor's fault by any means. They can't all be number twos like that.
Like us.
But it could be they just got to a point to where they're paying 2 mortgages and they're like, oh, we can't do this anymore. We got to rent it out, and we can't drop the price anymore. We're going to lose our money on this thing. That happens a lot. And they decide to rent instead. Could be just things change in their lives and they don't have to sell it now. Or they don't want to sell it now. So not necessarily always a bad thing with withdrawals, but I would say, and you know what you think, but I'd say 80-90% of withdrawals are typically, hey, we're not going to lower it any further. We're going to lose our shirts on this thing. What would you say?
Yeah. They decide to rent it because it's just most of them are probably paying 2 mortgages or a mortgage and renting out something else, and they've just dropped the price so much that at that point they're not going to make anything back, so they just want to rent it out. Yeah.
So, one more question we had. Let me see what she says. Last question. Oh yeah. Don't worry about last question. If you got any more, definitely.
Yeah.
More way. We're happy to help you. Like I said, you can reach out to Vanessa or me anytime. Well, not anytime, but you know what I mean. Last question. If you are still in Fayetteville, what schools do you recommend? We were looking to buy in the Jack Area because of schools, but too pricey out there.
Yeah.
I'll let you answer that one. Yeah. You like to?
Well, I don't know. I don't know them as well as you do. I feel like you know them a little bit better than I do. James has lived here forever. He's also ancient.
Good Lordy.
I'm just kidding.
Respect. Good Lord.
No. Cape Fear is a good one. It's a little bit, the houses out here are not so much at the center of Fayetteville, so I think they tend to be a little bit more reasonable. Jackbird is a good one, but again, it comes with the price tag.
Yeah. She's talking about elementary schools. We got so many. And as realtors, we're not allowed to give you our opinion, unfortunately, but we can give you data. So with that being said, elementary schools, there's so many. I couldn't tell you, which are we'll say the most desired elementary schools. But me and my wife live in Hope Mills, and when our son went here, he was in elementary school here. But she used to be a school teacher. Now I made her become a realtor, and
forced her.
Forced her.
He makes her do all his paperwork.
I think she's number 1. That's why we're number 2. But anyway, when and when she was a school teacher, I mean, data shows that the schools over here and in Hope Mills are real good data, with grades and just and I know you said elementary schools, but just high schools in this area, Grace Creek and Southview, have a higher graduation rate. And Vanessa's out in near Cape Fear High School, out in the boondocks, and she has,
wow.
Yeah,
Stedman Elementary is also one of the best elementary schools. I'm not just saying that because I live here. It really is.
Lord, they're trying to get ourselves in trouble here live on.
Look, I'm speaking fact. She can Google it. But there's definitely several. There's more, it's not just Grace Creek.
Yeah. I mean, even some schools in Fayetteville, we can definitely do her. Let me throw this in. If she does this, she just want to call us. Let me see what I can throw in here. Can I type in here? Yeah. Okay. Vanessa, throw your email in there.
Okay.
If you can do that, and then she can reach out to us by email too if she wants to, because she just want to talk to us. But we got a YouTube channel obviously because you're watching this. So we'll send you a video, and I'll also send you some information about which you can look up the local schools here too, where it's through Cumberland County, through the state. So actually, even if you're looking at Hope County or Harney County or Robinson County or whatever the case may be, it gives a school grade for each school from high school all the way down to kindergarten. So that'll really be good. And you can look at the data there. It's free data. It's not, so it's not our opinion. It's what the schools are telling you. So definitely.
Yeah, I had to put it in the private chat because if I want to put it in the comments, it's making me link up my YouTube, and for whatever reason, it's not linked up right now. Okay. But you can copy paste it.
Okay, there we go. Did you see that in the comments?
Yep.
Okay, so your email showed up?
No, not yet. There you go. It's there now.
Okay, yes, we were checking home. Okay, she asked another question. Checking home those two very affordable in comparison to Jackbridge, so I definitely need to keep in touch. Okay, yeah. We just dropped Vanessa's email in there, so definitely reach out to Vanessa. You can reach out to me too. But all my information is on the YouTube channel, so if you want to reach out to me, but her email is homesbyvanessa@gmail.com. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was now.
We were going to see a video on schools. No, have you done one?
And it's over a year old, but all the information is still the same. Nothing's really. Yeah, let me drop that video in.
Yeah, see if you can tag it on there.
Yeah. Let's see.
You could also call or text to that number if it's easier. We pretty much are on our phones all the time. So yeah. We'll respond. Yeah.
I found it. Let me close this down. So. And I just dropped the link in there. You can definitely, it was loading. I'm sorry. Did it pop up?
I got it on my end. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So definitely, you can check out that video too. About that, in that video also has all the information I was telling you about, data for all the schools. So definitely check that out. Okay, good. You got it. Okay, good. Cool. So, but yeah, even you used to live out in Rayford. I mean, speaking of renting, we used to live in Rayford, Vanessa. So,
yeah,
how would without giving your opinion, how would you say this? Because your kids went out there, what would you think?
Rayford schools. The problem with Rayford is that it's growing too much, and they're not able to keep up with the schools and the teachers. Yeah. So schools in Rayford are super overpopulated. Like, I don't think the elementary schools are that bad. I know there's like one high school for all of Hope County, so
yeah,
they're struggling out there. So I mean, hopefully they get new, good funding and new schools out there because they definitely need it. But I would say, as far as my personal experience with my children, we're a lot happier here. We're in the Cape Fear district. I'm in Stedman. I'm in a little town, like population 2,000, that I absolutely love because I don't like HOAs. I don't like traffic. I don't like being like my neighbors being right next to me, but that's a personal preference. I know James, he's in Hope Mills and he likes the HOA communities and all that good stuff. And so it's just going to depend on where you want to be, your personal preference, but there are good schools for both of those ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. And even Harney County too. It's, with Harney County, I mean, depending on where you guys going to work at on the base. I mean, you were here before, so it's, Fort Bragg's a big base. So, but Harney County is a good area too. School wise, I couldn't tell you much about it, but I haven't heard anything bad, but that data will be Friday. Okay. What's she saying?
Her HOAs are $150 a month.
Wow, it's rough. I was stationed there 9 years ago. My cousin here, out here in Fayetteville too. We don't like HOAs either. Oh wow, 150. Yeah, you definitely have to. I think the HOAs here are. I don't know what you get for 150, but HOA here is typically, I'd say, 95% of them are like $10-$20 a month. You don't get shit with it though,
unless you're in Stewart's Creek.
Yeah,
no, you don't want to go there.
Yeah, but I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you think, Vanessa, but I would say like $10-$20 a month, and there's no incentives with it. It's just more now they're policing you.
Yeah.
Make sure you cut your grass, you weed whack your yard, you didn't paint your house pink and purple. You decide to, like Vanessa likes to throw wild parties on the weekend. So
oh my goodness.
Don't throw no wild parties on the weekends. Don't turn your garage into a tattoo parlor on the weekends like she does.
But I'm not in an HOA, so I could do whatever I want.
Yeah, well, yeah. She's not in HOAs, but yeah, I would say HOA HOAs are not that bad, but you don't get nothing with them either. You're paying them to police you, which can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Unless it's like the Lakes community, like where it's like gated in, private.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, Gates 4, Anderson Creek. Out there in Harney County, we're just talking about Harney County, like Carolina Trace, Carolina Lakes. Yeah, those are like, I'd say about 200 a month.
Yeah, I showed a home. It was 200.
Yeah,
200 a month for
you're getting a lake, you're getting a volleyball court, you're getting the gated community, the clubhouse, all that good stuff. So it's worth it there. I don't know what you get for 150 where you're at. But at least you get a lake and all that good stuff, and golf. Usually, I think, like, I know most of them have golf courses too. So if you don't golf, then who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, who cares? But yeah, for that you definitely get that. But yeah, for the most part, the other ones are $10-$20 a month, and it's just you're paying them police you. It's it can be a good thing or a bad thing if you buy here and you get an HOA for $10-$20 a month. And in 3-4 years, you got to sell or want to sell. At least, they're keeping it to where your neighbors, don't look like Sanford and Son, have 10 junk vehicles in the front yard and grass is 10 feet high. It looks like a Vietnam jungle. You've got,
because then that's going to affect your comps for your own house. So it does have its plus sides. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it, go back and forth again. So, all right, guys. Well, I don't know if you got anything else. You got anything else, Vanessa?
Nope. I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end it here. Definitely, if you have any questions, let me throw Vanessa's info back up here again. Definitely reach out to Vanessa. That's her number on the screen. Her email is also in the chat. So, email her, call her, text her, send her smoke signals, bat signal.
All the things.
If you throw it in the sky, she'll see it. She'll come running to you for help. Well, not for help, but to help you. All information in my YouTube description. And we got another question. Oh, well, she said thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let me help you. Yeah. Glad we could help. Other than that though, guys, we'll see you in our next one next month. And you guys have a good day.
Bye, guys.